Hey, good people. Happy Tuesday to you all. Welcome to another edition of Grief and Motivation Talk 2 for Tuesday. I am Kanisha Nichelle, and I am super ecstatic that you are here once again. So let's go ahead and get started into today's topics. So we are going to talk about returning to the place where you met grief and finish what you start. All right. So before we dive into all of that good stuff, want to share with you some announcements. I hope that you all are doing well. If you are in a state where you are registered to early vote, make sure that you do so. I want to make sure that we exercise our right to vote in this season, and so I would be remiss if I did not give that ploy right here, right now. So a couple announcements. Number one, if you've been following me, you know that I have started a Facebook group, Grieving Christians. And so it literally was just birthed very organically, something that God had dropped into my spirit to do. And it's going really, really well. I am blessed to have close to 270 members in the group. You know, we can comfortably talk about God and how our grief is making us feel right now. Folks are dropping scriptures, and, you know, I try to do a little words of encouragement. Also, you know, I plan to have this group to develop and make it more of a fellowship, you know, because a lot of these Facebook groups that we get into, you know, it's just posting, which is fine. Definitely open for you to post and to vent and to, you know, share the highs and lows and ask questions. But I would love for this group to be a place of fellowship. Because while you're in your grievance season, I do believe that community is very powerful. I believe that if you can come together with others who are in the midst of that exact same situation, that you can feed off of each other, and that, you know, when someone's having a high day but you may be having a low day, then you could come together and encourage one another, and then in turn, when you're having your high moment, that you're able to encourage someone else. And so Grieving Christians is the name of that group. If you are interested in joining, click the link in my bio. If you are on YouTube, then you can go to my website. I will add a link there where you can go directly and join. Would definitely love to have you there. Also, number 2 on the announcements is I am doing a grief recovery program, an 8-week grief group program where we're just going to dive into all of the different phases of grief and talk about how we can move you from feeling the pain to finding the purpose. And so it actually starts this week on this Thursday. Registration and enrollment will close tonight at 11:59 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. But this is just my first opportunity of rolling out all of the things that helped me during my grief season. As many of you may know, that I have lost both of my parents, and, you know, it's been 13 years since I've become an orphan, and while I've been in this season, especially with COVID-19 and just watching our death tolls increase, I felt that I was in a position where I have come through that grieving season, and I'm just really called and really determined to help others. And so in this program, we're going to spend 5 weeks dissecting the many phases of grief, which I call my 5 C's. So that is confusion, crucifixion, confrontation, condition, and cooperation. We're going to talk about why is it difficult to accept that the loss has occurred, why is it so painful, and why are we feeling guilt as a result of the loss. We're going to talk about questioning the decisions that you made. Sometimes when we go back and we think, well, maybe if I would have done something differently, it would have been a different outcome. We're going to talk about why questioning plays a role in your grief journey. We're going to talk about why is it difficult to do some of the things that you used to love to do. You know, if someone calls you on the phone and says, you know, let's go out to eat, social distancing. But if we're able, you know, we want to go out to eat and you're like, nah, I'd just rather stay in the bed. We're going to talk about why you feel like that. And then in the end, we are going to dissect how we can help you move forward in your life. And so I am a certified life and grief coach, and you're going to be able to work with me one-on-one, and we're going to give you some tools where you can actually start implementing these in your life right now. as you're moving through this grief season. And so this is the first time I'm rolling out this program, so it is substantially discounted from what it will be the next go around. So for 8 weeks, it's only $129 to work directly with me for 8 weeks, including a Facebook group dedicated for the program, working one-on-one with me, and then a community of working with others. So if that is something that you are interested in, you can click the link in my bio. If you're on YouTube, this is on my website as well. All right. So that is all the announcements that I have. We will move into the inspiration portion of today's talk. As you know, I tend to read from my Prayers for Strength and Healing book and just kind of give you a piece of inspiration of what I'm reading and how we can apply this to our life. So today is October the 20th, and it says, Then touch he their eyes, saying, According to your faith be it unto you. And their eyes were opened, and Jesus straightly charged them, saying, See that no man knows it. This is coming from Matthew 9:29 and 30. And at the bottom it says, Choose your words carefully, for they can become stepping stones to healing. And so as I was reading this, the main thing that stuck out to me is life and death is in the power of the tongue. And this is a Bible verse, and we hear it all the time that when we speak things, be it positive or negative, we are literally controlling the outcome of our life. We are controlling the trajectory of our life. I wholeheartedly believe that when we speak things, that we are walking directly into those words. So if we're saying things like, I'm not well, I don't know how I'm going to get through this, this is impossible. When we speak those words, I honestly believe that we step into those words, and that's why we continue to feel those ways. On the other side, even if we're feeling those things, even if our heart and our mind says, I don't know how I'm going to get through this, but if we're speaking words of God is with me, I am going to get through this, even if we don't feel it, even if we're balled up in the bed, crying our eyes, and we just have it in our little piece of strength, just like a mustard seed of faith, to say that I will get through this, then I believe that we walk into those and we move forward into those words, and that's how we begin to manifest the things that we want in our lives. I read someone very recently that the things that we're experiencing right now is a result of the words that we've spoken in the past, be it good or bad. We manifest things into our life by the words that we speak. So if we are speaking negative, if we are projecting, I'm broke, I'm sick, I'm lonely, I'm all by myself, then those are the things that we're going to continue to manifest. But if we are speaking that I am fearfully and wonderfully made, I am living in abundance, wealth is my portion, I don't lack anything, God is my provider. When we say things like that, I wholeheartedly believe that we're stepping into those. And those are affirmations. And that's something that I personally believe in speaking affirmations. That if we are able to use our spiritual eyes and not focus solely on our natural eye and the thing that we see around us, that if we can tap into that moment, then we can be able to call forth those things that we want to see in our lives. And so that's what this passage really just spoke to me. I'll read it again if you are just joining. Excuse me. It says, Then touch he their eyes, saying, According to your faith be it unto you. So God made the declaration, but it was their faith that made it happen. And so we have to remember that this is a partnership. God specializes in miracles, and he can do things that no man can do, right? We know this. But believing and receiving those blessings is because it's a partnership. It's because God is stepping in and he's blessing the work of our hands. He's blessing the work of our faith. And so if we have the audacity to believe and to have faith that it can be done, then he's going to look upon us and say, you know what? My child believes with every ounce of their being that this can be done. So you know what? I'm going to make sure it gets done for them. And he can do that through people. He can do that through circumstances. He can do that through random blessings. If you're in need of money and you believe that God can be your provider, then he'll send a check in the mail that you didn't even know was coming. If you have the heart to believe that there is, sickness in your body, but you believe that I can be healed, he could come back and tell that doctor's report that, what we saw was wrong and you are healed. So don't discredit the fact that this is a partnership. This requires your participation. We believe God for miracles, and I believe that there are times that where God will step in and say, they don't have their strength, and so let me step in on their behalf. But a lot of the times, God is waiting on us to make the first move. And sometimes we're waiting on him, but it's not his job. It is our job to be faithful and to say yes to his will and yes to his way. And as we say yes, and as we begin to move forward, he steps in and makes that thing done. So that spoke to me, so I'm sorry if I cut off the scripture, but I just wanted to impart that on you. So let me go back. It says, then touched he their eyes, saying, according to your faith, be it unto you. And their eyes were open, and Jesus straightly charged them, saying, see that no man knows it. That's Matthew 9:29 and 30. Choose your words carefully, for they become stepping stones to healing. And so again, I just believe that the words that we speak out of our mouth are the things that we can manifest and call forth in our life. So if we're only speaking negative, I promise you that's probably what you're going to see. But if you are bold enough and you have the faith to begin to speak things that are positive, then that too is what you'll manifest in your life. All right? So that was today's inspirational moment. We'll move into the 2 for Tuesday talk, which our two topics are returning to the place where you met grief, and finish what you start. So returning to the place where you met grief. If you have seen my post yesterday, or if you are on my email list, I kind of talked about this in both places, but I wanted to just open this up and to share with you. So again, you guys know that I've lost my parents and a host of other family members as well. And so I am originally from Louisville, Kentucky, and at times it is very difficult to return home because home represents pain. There's a lot of great memories. My family is there, love them dearly. But there is a part of me as a person that has a sense of anxiety when it's time to get on that plane and to go, because nothing is the same. They're not there. And while I would love to get off of the plane and go run and see my parents, go run and see my grandmother, it just doesn't happen anymore. And so I want you to know that, for one, this is a very human part of the grief process. Now, I can attest and say that I have come through that season, but I am still human. Even when I turn off of this camera, I'm still going to a life where I don't have my parents at my side. And so that is a reality, that even though we get through the grieving season and we come to a place where we are whole, there are still parts of us that can drum up some sadness. And it's okay. I had to reaffirm in myself, and I'm reaffirming to you, that even though the time has gone on and the years have passed, there are moments where you just sit and you wonder and you reflect that, man, I sure do miss them. And so that's what grief is not. Grief is not getting over the fact that they're gone. We will forever miss the physical presence of our loved ones. But to have that moment of reflection and pause to say, gosh, I wish they were here, has no bearing on you and your recovery, or you and the progress that you've made. It is just a absolute normal part of the grieving season. So for those who are watching, I don't know where you are in your season, but I just wanted to share from my perspective, and I want you to see from me, as somebody who has been there and knows exactly where you are, that there will be still a few moments, where there is a trigger. And this is something that we're actually going to talk about in the Grief Recovery Program, is how to handle and manage those triggers. And so what did I do? I allowed the moment to happen. I have not been home in 3 years. And so getting on that flight and seeing Louisville on the board was a trigger for me. And I had to take that moment, and I had to pause, and I just had to sit with it and say, we're going to go through this. I had a layover in Baltimore, so there was no turning back. It wasn't like I was going to come back to Florida because I was having it. I just had to sit with it, and I just had to allow the feelings to be, and that's okay. And I want you to be encouraged that wherever you may return to, if it's if it was the hospital where your loved one passed, then you have to go to that hospital. Or if it was a motor vehicle accident and you have to drive through that scene, I want you to know to have those moments is absolutely normal, where you are going to feel the sadness and you will be overcome with the emotion. And it's okay. It is no reflection of the progress that you've made, the recovery progress that you've been doing. It's no reflection. You're human. We are human. We are built with emotions, and it is going to happen. So I want you to know that it is okay. And then the next thing is that you need to have a strong support system. So I'm glad that I wasn't traveling home by myself, that I had my family. I had my husband, I had my daughter, and they were already prepared for the moment because I told them that this is probably going to be tough. And so they were there to be a comfort and support. And so I would tell you to make sure that you have a good support system, even if it's just one person, that if you have to go back to this place, that you're able to call and talk to them, or that you're able to send a text message, even if they can't physically be with you, that they're there, and that you are able to share the moment with them and all of the feelings that come with it. Having a support system is very real. And so again, I just want you to know that these are some tools that are going to help you to understand that it is okay. All right. So I wanted to share this with you because, again, I don't know where you may be, and I wanted to just open myself up to share and just let you know that, even though we've come through the season, and even though that time, per se has passed, you're still human, and there's a very human part of you. So if it's their angel anniversary, a birthday, holidays, like I said, returning to that city if you've moved away, returning to a house that reminds you of the things that took place in that house. If they passed away at home, if it's the hospital or accident scene, any place where that grief first happened, where you initially lost your loved one, it's going to bring up feelings within you, and it's normal. It is okay. It has no bearing on your recovery progress. But I just want you to know and to accept that being human is still completely okay. All right. So that was the first point on my 2 for Tuesday. Second point is to finish what you start. A lot of times we get into these projects that we get excited about. It could be a home improvement project. It could be starting a business. It could be a wealth of things. Going on a diet, starting a budget to save. We get excited in the beginning, right? And then somewhere during the line, it gets tough. And temptation comes. So if you're dieting, you've done good for 2 weeks and you've gone walking and exercising, and then somebody says, I baked a cake for you, and it's your favorite cake and they knew it. And it's like, dang, I might fall off the wagon because I have this cake, right? Or if you're trying to get your finances in order and you've been on a strict budget, and then let's say a dress goes on sale online that you've been watching, and it's like, I think I want to go ahead and get it, right? I want you to know that it's okay, but you've got to finish what you start. There's a sense of satisfaction that when you've put your mind to something and you actually fulfill it, it's like, dang, I did that. I actually, made that happen. And so those are good wins. Those are the wins that we look forward to, simply because, in a world of uncertainty right now, in a world of things that are, pretty, dark and gloom, this election and the pandemic, coronavirus, all of those things, to have those wins is something that we should look forward to. So I want to encourage you that whatever project you've had on your list, if that's, something tangible like a home improvement project, or like I said, budgeting, dieting, or even as it relates to grief, if that's joining a support group, if that's taking a class or a workshop, if that is reading a book on grief, if that is listening to a podcast or watching something like this, you're being active in saying, you know what, I'm ready and I'm going to move forward. And there will be a sense of satisfaction for you that when you complete it, when you get to the other side of it, then you're going to say, you know what, I did that. And we've got to celebrate the small wins. It's not all about the big, humongous wins that we have to rah, 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 we're going to go out and celebrate and party. It's those small intangible wins that, you know, only you may know, or you may share with a small group of people, that I did that. And I'm celebrating myself for being able to do that. You know, I think I do my to-do list in this way. You know, we can tend to write down a long list of things that we've got to get done. You know, your to-do list, you know, we can say is a mile long. But I believe that if we could shrink it down and start with the little things, then we build to those bigger things, right? So here's a tidbit that I do. On Sundays, I make my to-do list of only 5 to 7 things. And I think of it like this: if I'm able to complete one task on my list per day, then that's an accomplishment. And, you know, it could be something small, but if I can just commit to one thing, then I'm checking it off. And before you know it, I'm down my list, and it's like, dang, okay, I did that. And I want you to try that. If that's something that you struggle with, time management, or seeing projects all the way through, break those things down into small itty bitty pieces so that you don't continue to feel overwhelmed. Because when you see that list and you like, you know, a list like this, and it's like, dang, I got all these things to do, then we tend to say, you know what, I'm not even ready to do it. You know, it's just too much. But if we can break down those projects into small itty bitty pieces, if we can check them off one by one, we'll be able to look back and say, you know what, I made some good progress, and I'm further along now from where I started. Okay? So I hope that was helpful for you. I hope that you are able to use that. As I said, that's just something that I have incorporated into my life a couple of years back, and it's tend to work for me. You know, if I do more in a day, great. Then that gives me more time on the back end to add to the list and do something else. But it definitely helps take off the pressure and the overwhelm of feeling like I've got to get all these things done if I break them down into smaller pieces. Okay? So that right there concludes 2 for Tuesday Grief and Motivation Talk. We talked about returning to the place of where you met grief. I want you just to know and to remember that even though you're making progress, you're taking 1, 2, 3 steps forward. If you have to go back to that place, or if there's something that triggers in your mind, that does not cancel out the progress that you've made. You are simply human. And you got to own and understand that I am human, and I have feelings, I have emotions, I miss my loved one, and it is okay. It doesn't take away from the progress. All it means is that I'm simply human. And then finish what you start. Just want you to remember that, you know, making progress is always good. Taking those small steps forward in completing something helps you to celebrate even the smallest of wins. So don't overwhelm yourself with the large scale of the project, but break that thing down into smaller pieces. So that way, as you check it off, you'll be able to look and tell that, you know what, I did that, and I did good. All right. So if you missed this, if you're just joining, this will be up in the replay section on Instagram, as well as on my YouTube channel. If you're watching this on Instagram, there are other talks that I've done. Feel free to go back and rewatch those, and be sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel, where I'm throwing other videos to help you through this grief season. Again, lastly, if you would like to join the Grieving Christians Facebook group, you can click the link in my bio or go to my website, KenishaNichelle.com. And then tonight is the final night to enroll into the Grief Recovery Program. It is literally almost 80% off of what it's going to be. It's $129 for 8 weeks that we're going to dive into those 5 phases of grief. We're going to work one-on-one on getting you the tools and the directions and real-time solutions to your everyday grief issues. And then we're going to celebrate the fact that you took a chance and said, yes, I am ready to get to the other side of this. All right? That is all that I have for you today. I look forward to seeing you next Tuesday. Be sure to take care of yourselves. And don't forget to go and early vote, mail in those votes, or prepare to go on November 3rd. All right? Talk to you all soon. Take care. Bye-bye.